Happy Friday! I'm here with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, and that means it's time for our next episode of Toy Box Tutorials. Today we're going to begin taking a close look at the Toy Box economy system, and the first toy that we're going to examine is the Money Manager. And you find this toy in the Creativitoys drawer, assuming you've unlocked this toy from the toy store, of course. And let's place this initially right over here. Now the Money Manager is perhaps the main toy in the economy system, even though it really doesn't do all that much. The Money Manager, as the name implies, manages the money. It allows you to define the currency that you're going to use for your economy system, and it keeps track of the money that the players have. So let's start by going into the Logic menu and opening up the properties for this toy. And there are two of them. The first one is the money type, and this defines the currency that your economy system will use. If we select that, you'll see there are 6 options here, and unfortunately there really isn't a good way to browse these options and see exactly what you will get, because you have to set up some logic first before you can do that. So I've done that for you ahead of time, and as I scroll through this list, I'll show you a brief clip of what each type of money looks like. The first one we have is the hexagon token, and here's what that looks like. It's basically the Disney Infinity logo. The next one is gold, and this is basically the coin that's used in Assault on Asgard and Stitch's Tropical Rescue from 2.0. This is basically what I think of when I think of money in Disney Infinity. Next up is gems, and here's what that looks like. This could work well in a Seven Dwarfs setting or a mining toy box. Next we have Marvel, and this one looks a little weird. It's like a fiery ball of energy. Certainly not what I would expect to use for money, but it might work well in a Guardians of the Galaxy type of setting. Flowers is the next option, and here's what that looks like. I could see this being used in a Pixie Hollow setting, or a forest setting, or maybe a farming sim. And the last one we have is balloons, and here's what that looks like. This could be used in a Disney theme park setting, or maybe a Toy Story themed toy box. So those are the possible money types, and hopefully those clips will help you when you set up your economy system. Feel free to refer back to this part of the video as needed. And for my toy box game here, we're going to use gold. So I'll set that to be my currency. The second property is the starting amount. This is the amount of money that the players will start with. By default, it's 0, but you can set this as high as 1,000. And you'll notice, as I'm setting this, that it increments by 10. So you can't start with 5 or 25 or some other number. I'm going to set the starting amount for my toy box to 20. Notice, too, there is only one starting amount. There isn't a starting amount for player 1 and a separate starting amount for player 2. I think this is because the economy system was originally designed for the tower defense games in 2.0, namely Assault on Asgard and Stitch's Tropical Rescue, and in those games players worked together to defend the base, so there really wasn't any need for the players to have separate amounts of money. And this is one of the limitations of the Toy Box economy system that you have to deal with if you want to use it. There's only one purse, and the money is shared by both players. So again, as I said in the previous tutorial, the developers never expanded on this economy system that they had built. They just made it available and didn't make it more generically usable. So that's it for properties. Now this toy also has some logic connections, and there are 2 trigger signals that this toy will broadcast, activated and deactivated. The activated trigger signal is broadcast when the Money Manager becomes active, and deactivated is broadcast when it becomes deactivated. By default, this toy is not active. It's turned off, and that means it's not enough to place a Money Manager in your toy box and set its properties. this toy isn't going to do anything until you first activate it. And the only way to do that is with a logic connection. There's no property for it, as you saw. So let's look at the behaviors next. I'll cancel out of that. There are 3 behaviors that this toy has, and to demo those, let's drop a couple of buttons. So we'll put one here, we'll put one here, and I'm only going to drop 2 of them because I can only demo 2 of the behaviors today. The third one I can't really demo yet. And let's drop a sound effect generator as well. We'll put that over here for right now. Alright, so to see the behaviors, let's go to this button, open up the logic menu, do a new logic connection when pressed, and we'll try to connect up to this toy. And when we do, we see that there are 3 behaviors for this toy. Activate turns the money manager on, so this is how you do that. Deactivate turns it off, and then reset economy takes away the player's money and resets the contents of the purse to the starting amount that is specified in the properties. So the first button we're going to have activate. The second button, we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. We'll do deactivate. And I can't really demo reset the economy today because we don't have a way to collect money yet. So it's never going to change from the starting amount. So doing the reset won't actually do anything. So this is what we're going to do today. And then just to kind of show the trigger signals, let's hook that up to the sound effect generator. So on the money manager, we'll do a new logic connection when activated. We'll come over to the sound generator, and under the general category, we'll do the cash register sound. And a new logic connection. When this is deactivated, we'll come over to our sound effect generator. Under general, we'll do the buzzer sound. That's just to give us a little feedback and to demo how those trigger signals work. And in the properties under the sound effects manager, let's turn off 3D sound at speaker or locator. Alright, so let's see what we got. First thing we'll do is turn it on. Okay, and you kind of heard the sound effect go off there for the cash register. Notice in the upper left corner, the number of sparks that we had is gone, and it's been replaced with the little coin and 20. So it's activated the money manager. That's the currency we're using. That's the starting amount that I had specified. And if we come over here and turn it off, you can see now we have our sparks back. So that kind of demos how the toy works. Now, one of the questions that someone asked when I used the economy system in my Aladdin series was this: can you have multiple currencies? Or in other words, can you have multiple money managers? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. Let's go ahead and drop a second one and see what happens. Whenever you have a question like that, it's always best to just experiment and see what happens. So let's do that. We'll drop a second money manager. And we'll also drop some additional buttons. So I'm going to pick that one up and put it down. And we'll put 2 buttons over here to turn that one on and off. And let's set this one up a little bit differently so we can tell the difference. For the money type, I'll set that to flowers. And the starting amount we'll leave at 0. And we'll use this button to turn that one on. So when pressed, we'll activate. And this one, new logic connection, when pressed, will deactivate. Okay, so let's come back over here to the first one. We're going to turn this on. That plays the little cha-ching, which you can kind of hear behind the button press. And you'll see that we have our money now set up there for the coins. Let's see what happens when we turn the second one on. You'll notice the coin has been replaced with the flower, and instead of 20, we now have 0. I did not hear the buzzer go off when I turned on the second money manager, but if we turn off the second money manager, we don't see coins, we see sparks. So let me do that again. So we turn the first one on, and then we turn this one on. No buzzer. So it seems like the other toys should be active, but when we turn this one off, we don't see coins, we see sparks. And what that tells me is that activating the second money manager automatically deactivated the first one. Even though I didn't hear anything go off with that buzzer, it's pretty clear to me that this one was deactivated. And what that means is you can only have one money manager active at a time. So you can have multiple currencies in the toy box, but only one currency is going to be used at a time, and each money manager keeps track of its own currency. So this one knew we had 20 coins, this one knew we had 0 flowers. And if we were to activate this first money manager and collect some coins, and then come over here and activate the second money manager, this second money manager doesn't know anything about the coins that we collected. It's keeping track of the number of flowers we're collecting. So they're 2 separate currencies and 2 separate amounts, and there's no way to use both of these simultaneously. And you can kind of see that in the display in the upper left. It only showed one of them because only one can be used at a time. And so that, I think, is the limitation here. There's also no currency exchange. There's no way to convert the coins into flowers or vice versa. And also toys like the treasure chest and the loot drop manager, which we haven't looked at yet, are only going to reward you with the currency from the money manager that's currently active. And to get these toys to give different kinds of currencies, you're going to have to be constantly activating and deactivating these money managers. And that's going to get complicated. We haven't talked about shops yet either, but shops cannot be tied to a specific money manager either. A shop only gets the currency type and the amount that you have to spend from the active money manager. So if you want to have one shop use one kind of currency and another shop use a different kind of currency, the only way I can see to do that is to prevent a shopkeeper from opening their shop menu if the wrong kind of currency is active. The logic for all of that gets messy, so I really don't see much benefit to using multiple money managers in a toy box. I think it's usually better to keep it simple, and the fact that when we activate another money manager, the fact that this does not broadcast the deactivated signal, even though it is clearly deactivated, is going to be a problem, because you're not going to be able to tie certain things to each money manager, turn them off and on as each of these is activated, and the other gets deactivated. So that's going to be a problem. So yeah, you can have multiple money managers, but the logic's going to get messy, and you can only use one at a time. Now, another question that I've been asked is whether it is possible to collect money in one toy box and then carry it with you when you go through a toy box store into another toy box. I have not tried that, but I believe the answer to that is no. The money manager in each toy box is a separate toy, and even if you set the currency to be the same type in both toy boxes, they're not going to know the amount you had in the other toy box. So when you go through the toy box door, your purse is going to be reset to whatever the starting amount is in the new money manager. And if someone wants to try that and I'm wrong, let me know. I will happily retract what I said, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And that's unfortunate because the 2.0 games did allow you to do that. You'd play in one toy box and collect money and then go back to the hub toy box, go into another toy box, and it seemed like you carried that money with you. Alright, so let's go ahead and just do a little quick setup now that we have an idea of how the Toy Box Money Manager works. So I want to come over here to this button, and I'm going to deactivate this link, because what I really want to have happen is I want this Money Manager to become active when the Toy Box is started. So we need a level starter. So I'm going to scroll over to the left, pick that up. We need the level starter for that. And let's go ahead and move these toys out of the way and put them back over here. So I'm going to put that level starter over here. We'll move the Money Manager back over here now that we're kind of done talking about that. And we'll bring our buttons over here as well. So the button to deactivate, we'll place that here. And the button to activate, we'll place that over here. And we're going to leave these buttons in the toy box because we're going to need them, as you'll see. So what I really want to have happen is this become active when the toy box is loaded. So that's why we have the level starter here. So on that, we'll do a new logic connection on Catalyze. We'll come over here and activate this. And we'll hook our button here up to the level starter. So new logic connection, when pressed, we will start the level starter. And again, we can demo that. So when we press this, you can see in the upper left, we're now using coins. We have 20 of them, so our Money Manager is active. And we can turn it off with that. So there we go. I think that's everything for the Money Manager. Next time we'll look at the Inventory Manager. And that's all for me today. If you found this tutorial helpful, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know. It's encouraging to me to know when my videos are watched and appreciated. And if you do appreciate my videos, consider subscribing to my channel and following me on my blog. Thank you for watching, and have a nice weekend.